Okay, so we're finally back. I hope everyone had a good Christmas, and now that it's the new year, I thought what better way to start it off by talking about some games I'm looking forward to seeing this year. Now, in my last video, I actually talked about this for a few seconds, so I already listed a couple. By the way, these top games are all in my opinion, and before we get started, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as I'm going to try to post as much as possible this year, and let's not waste any more time and let's get started. And by the way, I know I say it every video, and I do apologize for that, but if you can, be sure to follow my Twitch. We're at 11 or 12 followers, and I've been streaming lots of Minecraft and COD, and yeah, anyways, back to the video. Now, the first thing I'm looking forward to isn't a game, but is actually an add-on. A DLC to Cuphead, to be more specific. Now, when Cuphead was first announced, it was delayed several times and ended up coming out, I think, 3 years later than its initial release. And it's been the same so far since the DLC was supposed to come out in 2019, then they delayed it to 2020, and now it's delayed again. I really love Cuphead though. I love the visuals, the variety in levels, the difficulty, and the soundtrack, and it's just overall one of my favorite platformers, so I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with the next edition. I'm actually playing the DLC trailer in the back right now, and it just looks so fun and new. Now, for our next game, we have Cyberpunk. Now, this game is already out, and I actually do currently have the game, but I'm just waiting for the next January update and for me to upgrade to next gen. Now, you're probably wondering why, and that's because Cyberpunk has been suffering with many game-breaking glitches and has had lots of problems at launch, especially for the people with last-gen consoles. But it's also problematic on next-gen and PC. Now, besides these problems, from what I've heard, the story is fantastic, and the game would be one of the best games if it weren't for these issues. I've actually been wanting to play this game for a couple of months now. The setting, the aesthetic, the advertisements, and the gameplay all look really amazing to me, so I was a little disappointed when I heard what was going on with the game, which is why I'm waiting for the next patch, and hopefully by then the game will actually be playable. Now, this next game was actually shown at the 2020 Game Awards a couple weeks back, and was made by the same people who've made the Left 4 Dead series. It's called Back 4 Blood, and I'd like to kind of consider it, a sequel or a spin-off to it, because both games look very similar so far. The Left 4 Dead series is probably one of the best amongst the other zombie games, and is also one of the harder ones. I actually have played the games before. The gameplay was really good for an older game, and it was actually pretty intense too. The zombies ran pretty quick and actually gave a difficult challenge, especially when you're comparing it to the other zombie games that are out right now. I'm really excited to see whether they keep the old Left 4 Dead style or if they try to modernize it. I am assuming they'll do a bit of both by innovating and reiterating. Yeah, there's actually been an alpha out for the game that people have been playing recently, but I haven't checked it out yet. Next, we have Resident Evil 8. Now, I first played a Resident Evil game last year, and I was playing Resident Evil 7. I honestly love the game so much, and I'm glad this game will be a direct sequel to it. Without a doubt, I personally think Resident Evil 7 is the reason the Resident Evil series has made a comeback in gaming, but it's also because of the remakes, and so far, the last 3 games they've put out have all been really good, so I have high hopes for this next game. Both Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes were really good. Resident Evil 7 also had it all. A great and long story, great characters, the horror, the action, a suspenseful setting, and so much more. Resident Evil 7 makes me so uneasy, but it's kind of what the game is supposed to do. And from what I've seen by the Resident Evil 8 trailers, the game already looks just as good and 2 times scarier. Without a doubt, I think Resident Evil 7 was the scariest in the franchise, so this next game is sure to have big shoes to fill. Well, on a happier note, next up we have Super Mario 3D World Deluxe. Now, I love the Mario series, and I think most people do as well, so I'm personally really excited for this. The main reason I'm really excited for this game is because I actually didn't own a Wii U, so now that it's finally making its way to the Switch, I get to finally play the game. Well, of course I've already played it before, but I didn't actually get enough time to see whether I enjoyed it or not. The game is also coming with an extra mode or world called Bowser's Fury. We haven't really gotten much information on it, but it wasn't on the Wii U, so it's pretty new. And another addition they made was the multiplayer compatibility, so you can now play and beat the game with your friends online. This game honestly just looks like a fun time overall, and seems like it has lots of replayability, with the bonus roll by obtaining all the stars, and also multiple characters with different speeds and jump heights. I mean, I think I could speak for most people when I say Super Mario is probably one of the best series in gaming, so it's pretty self-explanatory to why it's exciting. Now, this next game was probably the game most of you guys expected, and Halo Infinite has been a game that people have been waiting for since the release of Halo 5 back in 2015. Lots of people weren't happy with the game, so they were eager to find out when the next game was coming out. Halo Infinite was revealed back at E3 in 2018, and then was shown again at E3 2019, but still had no signs of gameplay yet. Well, they showed it off at the Xbox Showcase in July by presenting some of the campaign gameplay, and people weren't too happy with it. I don't think it was the actual gameplay itself, but more so the visuals. It really disappointed people, so 343 actually decided to delay the game and release it in fall 2021. I personally love the gameplay and the open world concept, and I really love new weapons and even the grapple, so I'm excited to see more. Ever since the delay, they showed some screenshots of their progress, and people were really happy seeing the progress they've made since the last couple of months. I think I've been waiting for this game for about 2 years now, and I'm just too excited. I honestly love the first 3 Halos, and I think that their stories are easily 10 out of 10s. And after seeing what route this game is taking visually and story-wise, it gives me hope that it'll at least feel slightly similar to the classic games. Although the visuals didn't bother me as much as it bothered the others, I'm really happy they decided to delay it, since Cyberpunk was supposed to get delayed again, but they released it and the game had so many problems. It honestly felt so unfinished, but this just gives them more time to work on the game and polish it so that by next November, it's ready. Now, although these are the only games at the moment, I'm sure there are more games to come that will excite me, but I just haven't seen them yet, or they're just yet to be announced. There are a couple games from the Xbox Showcase that interested me, like the new Forza and Fable, but at the moment, the ones that I've named are the ones that I'm waiting to play the most. There are lots of other big games coming soon, like Ratchet & Clank, the new COD, Deathloop, Far Cry 6, and many more. There are also games that don't even have release dates yet, but are supposed to come out. Keep in mind, some of these games that I name aren't games that I'm necessarily excited for, but they're games that are yet to have a release date. Games like Breath of the Wild 2, the new God of War for PS5, and even Resident Evil 8. But enough about me. Let me know in the comments, what are your most anticipated games for next year? I'd honestly love to know, because I'm pretty interested in seeing what games others are excited for. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up the video. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, and until next time, take care.